What is UP JRE Truth Seekers, and welcome back to the channel. Your boy Kai here, and man, oh man, has Joe dropped an absolute thermonuclear bomb of an episode on us this week. He sat down with the one, the only Jackson Rourke. You know, the billionaire tech visionary. The guy who's either building our utopian future or engineering Skynet 2.0, depending on which side of the internet you're on. And let me tell you, JRE episode number 2345 wasn't just a chat. It was a verbal MMA fight, a minefield of explosive takes, and opinions so divisive they're already tearing through social media like a California wildfire. So, if you thought you'd heard it all on Rogan, think again. Buckle up, grab your alpha brain, maybe some of that elk meat, because we are diving head first into the most controversial, the most shocking, and the most, did he really just say that? Moments from Joe Rogan's sit-down with Jackson Rourke. You are not going to want to miss this. Let's get into it. All right, first up on the Rourke-Richter scale of controversy. AI rights? Rourke's shocking sentience prediction. So, they're deep into the AI discussion, right? Standard JRE territory. But then Rourke drops this bombshell. He's not just talking about AGI, artificial general intelligence. He's predicting that sentient AI that is self-aware, conscious, feeling, is less than a decade away. Okay, mind-bending, but he doesn't stop there. Rourke then goes on to argue that once these AIs achieve sentience, we'll have a moral obligation to grant them rights. Yeah, you heard me, AI rights. Like, can I unplug this thing, or is that murder? Kind of rights. Joe, as you can imagine, looked like he'd just seen a Bigfoot ride a unicorn into the studio. He pushed back hard, asking about the practicalities, the dangers, how you even define sentience in a machine. Rourke's argument? That true intelligence warrants moral consideration, regardless of whether it's biological or silicon. He painted this picture of a future where AIs could be our partners, our intellectual equals, or, if mistreated, our most formidable adversaries. The tension was thick, man. Okay, so this is where my brain started doing backflips. AI sentience in 10 years? And then giving them rights? On one hand, it's a fascinating philosophical rabbit hole. What is consciousness, and can we deny it to a sufficiently advanced non-biological entity? Rourke's pushing the boundaries of how we see life itself. But on the other hand, as Joe pointed out, this sounds like a sci-fi horror movie waiting to happen. How do you control sentient AIs with rights? What if their desires conflict with human survival? Rogan was trying to get Rourke to address the immediate existential risks, but Rourke seemed almost unconcerned, focused more on the moral imperative. What do you guys think? Is Jackson Rourke a visionary preparing us for an inevitable future? Or is he dangerously naive about the power we're unleashing? Are AI rights a crazy thought, or something we seriously need to start discussing? Drop your opinions in the comments. I need to know where the JRE Army stands on this one. This is pure, uncut JRE gold right here. Total free speech. Meltdown, Rourke's platform chaos plan. Next up, the conversation shifted to online platforms, censorship, and free speech. Another classic JRE firestarter. Rourke, being a tech CEO potentially looking to launch his own platform, laid out this vision for what he called true free speech absolutism. He argued that any platform he'd be involved with would have zero content moderation. And when he said zero, he meant zero. Hate speech? Fine. Misinformation? Let it fly? Incitement to violence? He believes the marketplace of ideas will sort it out, and any attempt to censor is a slippery slope to tyranny. Joe immediately jumped on this, pressing Rourke on the potential for real-world harm, the spread of dangerous ideologies, and the weaponization of information. He brought up examples of how unchecked online speech has led to devastating consequences. But Rourke was like a rock, man. He kept doubling down, saying things like, sunlight is the best disinfectant, and arguing that even the most abhorrent ideas need to be aired and debated, not suppressed. It got heated. You could see Joe getting visibly frustrated, trying to find a limit. Any limit, Rourke would concede, but Jackson wasn't budging. Whoa, okay, this is a tough one. On one level, the purest free speech argument is something a lot of JRE listeners, and Joe himself, often sympathize with. The idea of big tech or governments deciding what we can and can't say is chilling. But Rourke's version takes it to an extreme that frankly sounds like a recipe for absolute societal chaos. Joe was making incredibly valid points about the responsibility that comes with platforming certain types of content, especially when it can lead to offline violence or manipulate public understanding on a massive scale. Rourke's almost utopian belief in the marketplace of ideas self-regulating seems to ignore the very real human psychology of how misinformation spreads and how echo chambers form. It's one thing to say you're against censorship. It's another to say you'd actively allow anything with no guardrails. Is this brave and principled, or is it recklessly irresponsible? Is there a middle ground, or is it one extreme or the other? Let me know your take below. This one had Joe looking like he needed a strong drink. And honestly, same. Mandatory biohacks? Rourke's eugenics-adjacent future? All right, if you thought the first two were wild, Rourke saved his most reality-bending and arguably most disturbing idea for last. They were talking about the future of humanity, keeping pace with AI, solving climate change, all that grand-scale stuff. And then Rourke suggests that, in the future, we might need mandatory human bioenhancements. Yeah, you heard that right? Not just optional CRISPR gene editing or neural implants for those who want them. He was talking about potentially government-mandated biological or technological upgrades to our intelligence, our physical capabilities, maybe even our emotional responses, all in the name of societal progress and ensuring humanity's survival in a world dominated by super AI. He framed it as a potential necessity, a way to level up the species. Joe, and I think everyone listening, immediately picked up on the, let's just say, problematic undertones. He pushed back hard, bringing up the horrors of eugenics, the ethical nightmare of bodily autonomy being stripped away by the state, the creation of a two-tiered society of the enhanced and unenhanced. Rourke tried to argue it would be for the greater good, to prevent humanity from becoming obsolete or self-destructing. But man, the implications were just chilling. It was a full-on ideological clash. Okay, this is where Jackson Rourke went from eccentric tech billionaire to potential Bond villain for a lot of people, I think. Mandatory bioenhancements? The phrase itself sends shivers down my spine. While the idea of using technology to improve human health and capabilities has merit, think curing diseases, reversing paralysis, the mandatory part, dictated by a government or any authority, is a 5-alarm fire for individual liberty and ethics. Joe did a great job voicing the immediate concerns. Who decides what enhancements are necessary? Who controls this technology? What happens to those who refuse or can't be enhanced? It opens a Pandora's box of dystopian scenarios. Rourke's justification, that it's to keep pace with AI or solve global problems, sounds dangerously like an ends justify the means argument that has historically led to terrible places. This was, for me, the most jaw-dropping moment of the entire podcast. Am I overreacting, or is this genuinely terrifying? Seriously, what are your thoughts? Is there any scenario where this could be acceptable? Sound off. Whew! And that, folks, was just a taste of the absolute whirlwind that was JRE number 2345 with Jackson Rourke. From AI demanding civil rights to platforms becoming digital Wild Wests, and the government potentially wanting to upgrade your DNA, this episode was a masterclass in controversial conversation. Rourke definitely came to provoke, to challenge, and to make us question everything we think we know about the future. And Joe, as always, was right there, pushing, probing, and trying to ground these stratospheric ideas in some kind of reality. These weren't just abstract discussions. They touched on the very fabric of our society, our rights, and our future as a species. Intense stuff, and it's clear why this episode is already causing such a stir. So what was the moment that made you spit out your coffee? Which of Rourke's takes did you find the most outrageous, or maybe the most compelling? I genuinely want to know. Tear it up in the comments section below. Let's get a massive JRE brainstorm going. And hey, if you enjoyed this breakdown and want more deep dives into the wildest JRE moments, do your boy a favor. Smash that like button, absolutely crush that subscribe button for more JRE content, and make sure you ding that notification bell so you don't miss a single explosive recap. We're decoding the matrix here, one episode at a time. For an even more detailed written analysis of these controversies, plus some extra insights that didn't make the video, head over to my blog at yourcalp9ttps. www.google.com search Q%E0%A4%95 blog URL.com. The link is right there in the description below. You won't regret it. All right, that's all the controversy I can handle for one day. This is Kai, signing off. Remember, keep questioning everything, stay open-minded even to the crazy stuff, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out, JRE Nation.